What is going on? I want to thank you for coming by to Vape with a Viking. So today, got an RTA from a fellow reviewer, and of course, you know I like him. It's the Vaping Bogan, and so we got a whole little Bogan setup here. We got the Blotto RTA sitting on top of the Jackaroo mod. Uh, really nice mod when it comes into manual labor, outside work. You know, I'm a metal worker, and this thing is with me constantly, and it still pretty much looks brand new. So, but we are here for the RTA. This is kind of an interesting RTA, as in it's good in a single coil or dual coil, just however you want to set it up. Large single coil. I mean, there's so many different ways to set this up. I actually, through my testing, actually recorded a couple of the builds that I put in there, which I normally don't do. But I definitely wanted to be very thorough with this RTA because it is Bogan's device, and I know a lot of you know that I'm a big supporter and big fan of Bogan. I actually had this idea. I was going to do this skit. I was going to run and do the vaping Viking and try to do the accent and call everybody dickheads and hope your day is good, you know, is golden, you know, so on and so forth. But it just way too nervous to do it, and I just kept screwing it up. So we're just going to do a Viking review, but make sure we shout out the legend Vaping Bogan on a consistent basis. Hey, we might even do one of those little juice pairing things that he does. But before we get into that, let's go over Vikings Advocacy Minute. So, speaking of Bogan, South Australia, if you do not know what's going on in his neck of the woods, you'd need to, because way that we are going here in the States, we could easily fall in the way of South Australia. South Australia is now so overburdened by all of the legislation that you can't even vape in a vape shop in South Australia right now. So definitely, if you can, support the South Australians. They're having a tough time. South Africa, I know Bearded Vikings has said that they're having issues. And of course, here in the States, we're getting attacked constantly. Misinformation, FDA flavor banning. I mean, it's getting really kind of scary out there. And like I tell you, please be informed, because more than likely, the more you're informed, you're going to get involved. We got to do something. We got to stop this dead in its tracks, or we're all kind of screwed. So, but enough of that. Let's get to the star of the show here, Bogan. I mean, the Blotto, which is, you know, slang for being drunk. So I guess there's a good correlation. But we are running some more Bogan here. I do have the Kurang Cola by Bogan Brews in there. So it's a just straight up cola. So what we're going to do, I don't drink. Sorry, Bogan. I'm not that cool. So, but again, still homage to Sam there, because with this RTA, you get a bottle opener, and it is an interesting coil cutting tool as well. We will see in the dive down. But since I don't drink, we still got to do, we got to do the Bogan here. We're going to take and we're going to pair up a juice with a Bevo. All right, so as Bogan would say, this is about as dark as the FDA's soul. So, but hey, we're here to have fun, right? So let's try this out. This is Kurang Cola in a California raspberry soda. So let's try this out. Yeah, I guess my taste buds are horrible. It just tastes like the soda. So, so that's enough of that. But let's go ahead and dive down, take a look at the inside of this interesting, and of course, interesting looking RTA. Show you how everything works. Like I said, I have a couple builds to show you while we're down there. And then we'll come back up, we'll vape on it, tell you where you can get it, price and pros and cons. So let's drop the hammer on the Blotto.
Okay, so what I got for you today is the Blotto RTA. This is, of course, the newest RTA from the Vaping Bogan. So you have Blotto there, his symbol there, and of course he did this in collaboration with Dovpo. And so on the back we've got all the kind of highlights and features. We have the scratch and check authenticity, and then all of Dovpo's information and your color configuration. So in the box, you're going to get, of course, your atomizer, and then in this little side slot here, you are going to get, which I thought was really cool. If you know Bogan at all, you know he definitely likes a good bevo. So he included a little bottle opener, or if you are not a drinker, you can actually use this to pop open the caps of short fills. Really cool touch there. But then here's your coil cutting tool right here. Very awesome there. I'll show you how to use that real quick. We're gonna be cutting one of Cayman's or K-Coil's 6-core aliens, his Gunger aliens there, because we are gonna run this guy in single coil mode, because I know everybody out there is going to be showing, what it looks like with a dual coil. It's like, well, let's do something a little different. So all you do is just throw your coil in there, press it up against there, and you're just going to clip right there as a guide right at the edge. Boom. That's all there is to it. And now your coil's all prepped and ready to go. So we'll set that off to the side there. Alright, then you'll have your QC pass, you'll have your user manual, you'll have your accessory pouch, which has your O-rings, a full set of replacement deck screws, a little tri-tool, and then you'll have 2 glasses here. These are the bubble glasses, which will increase the capacity to 6 mils. You'll have glass, and you will have Ultim. Alright, so onto the atomizer itself. Of course, you will have a 810 drip tip here, just the regular style inner O-ring, O-ringless 810. And of course, you got the matching gunmetal to match with the rest of the color, and then the rest will be Ultim. And then, of course, on the top, you're going to have the bottle cap-esque looking quarter turn top cap, the seal in there, and then pretty huge kidney shaped fill holes there. Then at the bottom you're going to have honeycomb-esque airflow there. So on the bottom you're going to have Blotto RTA. You got Vaping Bogan and Dovpo. Got number 3137. You do have a very well protruding 510 pin with a huge amount of protruding insulator there. Some peak. And then your threading. So this is 100% hybrid safe. That is because anytime you have your 510 pin past your threading, that is hybrid safe, but that is a lot of peak outside there, so that's actually a little better. Alright, so on the deck, we'll get to that in just a sec. We'll pop the glass off here. So with the straight glass, you will have a 2 mil capacity, and then you'll have on the chimney itself little Bogan symbol there. Put this on one of Bearded Viking stands here. Pretty fitting. I know the Bogan and Bearded Viking are pretty tight, even though they're countries away from each other. Alright, so let's take a look at this deck. So you are going to have a postless deck design here, and that's what the coil cut tool is for. And then you will have your peak insulator running on both sides. And the main reason for that is when I was looking at the presentation video, most of the time when you run a single coil, you'll want to run one here and one here. they actually ran one to one side, and it's because the way that they're set up is in the positives posts. So you actually have running peak running through here and then through here. So your positives, you can't run. Normally you'd run one here and one here because usually positive sides, negative. The way they have it, they actually have it running opposite each other. So that's why you have to run, if you're going to run a single coil, you'll want to put both legs in one side only. So a little different than what we're used to seeing out there, but as you'll see, it's got 242 degrees of airflow. And one of the things that I took away from the presentation video with the Bogan is, if you notice on the top of your coils on most of your devices, there's a kind of a black area. And that's because the airflow there is getting choked off. So that's why he decided to roll with a design and help Dovpo tweak the design of this when he jumped on board with him. And one of the things he was talking about is making sure the top of that coil had sufficient enough airflow. So one, it'll give you more flavor, but two, you're going to probably start seeing the top of that coil not get as black as fast anymore. And then, of course, this is kind of almost like the GTA or Skydeck designs where you just put your coil in and the wicks go down here and they just dangle down in this cup or base deck here. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to throw in this coil here real quick. And this is where I usually fast forward and do all that kind of stuff, but I definitely wanted to show you how I would do a single coil, because like I said, it is a little different than what we're used to here. Okay, after you get your legs in there, nice and secure there, this is definitely going to be kind of a chunkier, bigger coil than, really what it, of course, is definitely meant for dual coil, and that's one of the reasons I picked it, because even Bogan said if you want to run a dual coil 2.5 millimeter, if they're a big chunky coil, or you can do 3 inner diameter if they're not anything too extreme, and you can go from 3.5, and I think he even said you can possibly even get a 4 in this guy right here, which, looking at it, yeah, you probably easily could there, because Gungor coils are a 6-core alien, so they are big, chunky coils, but amazing flavor on these guys. So, roughly, yeah, I probably should have kept the legs a little longer, just so I can get a little more squarely in there. Nah, that pulled out just fine. So there you go. And what we're going to do is we're going to throw some cotton candy in there, throw some Zolo Smooth in there. All right, well, let's get this rolling. Alright, so I did finish testing with the single coil, and of course when we come back up I'll tell you my thoughts on there. So I went ahead and threw in some of K-Coil's smaller 28 gauge aliens right here. So just kind of want to show you what that'll look like with a dual coil setup in there.
All right, we are back up with the Blotto. All right, first and foremost, I'm going to leave Bogan to the juice drink pairings. Maybe it's a beer thing versus soda, and I don't know. I was I didn't do well with that, so I'll leave that up to the man, the legend that is the Bogan. Let's talk about what he did here. First off, the bottle cap top to basically the bottle cap bottom, and then of course his logo, the coil cutting tool that is not only a bottle opener if you're not a drinker or don't really require this to open any bottles. You can actually use this for your short fills if you get short fills, or even if you mix your own. This is good for popping the tops off of those juices to, put Nick in them, or to adjust your PG, VG, so on and so forth. So nice little tool there. So pros and cons all together. Uh, pro for me is if you really like an RTA, with the straight glass, it's 2 mils. With the bubble, it's 6 mils. For me, if I really dig an RTA, almost every single time, it doesn't have enough capacity. It's like, capacity is a key to me in a good flavor producing RTA. 6 mils, that's good. So that's definitely a pro. The drip tip on it, the stock one, I usually take drip tips out and play with literally the friggin' drawers of drip tips I have until I find one that not only looks good, feels good, all that. This one, I left it on there. It's great. The airflow is really smooth. And of course, the flavor is really good off of it. And that's because that 242 degrees of your airflow. Now, in the builds, he had the single coil. I put in one of K Coil's Gunger 6-core aliens in there for single. It was good. Then I went ahead and put in K Coil's small mass aliens. So they're really, really thin alien, dual coil, 3 millimeter. It kicked it. It kicked it really good. And then a couple I didn't catch on camera is I went ahead and made my own. It was a frame staple. I had some wire that was pre-built. I went ahead and spooled that into a 4 millimeter inner diameter single coil, and it was pretty good. It was somewhere in between the Gunger coil single and then the dual coils. But now what I have in it is some coil clout V3 aliens. So, and they said they would ohm out to right at a 0.18. I trimmed them up a little closer, so it actually came out to a 0.15. And of course, won't focus on there. 1.5, 82 watts. Have the airflow only about a quarter of the way closed off. So with the coil clout alien dual coil and K coils alien dual coil, for me, that was the best flavor production. The single coils, 3 and 4 millimeter, were still good, but I definitely like the flavor that comes off the duals. So we'll give it another vape here. Yeah, just full of flavor. So just pro for flavor. So literally the only couple cons I can think of, and I say a couple because it's one of those things, if you know me, if I don't point out any cons, even if it doesn't have any, you're gonna be like, wow, well, you like Bogan, you're gonna like his product, so on and so forth. Um, so literally the only con I can think of, and it's kind of subjective, if you have to pull the base deck out and to mess with the build or whatever, you're gonna lose all your juice. Uh, I knew ahead of time about that, and I was trying to be really careful with it, and I barely bumped it, and yeah, I lost a lot of juice. But it's also one of those things that's going to be a subjective con. Because for me, I'd rather have it looser like that than some RTAs where it's on there and in there so tight that you're literally using your thumb in the chimney and your finger to work the glass around, because I did it with another RTA that I did that and it shattered the bubble glass and it barely tinked against the chimney. So that could be a con for you. Maybe gunmetal, because it does come in stainless, black, and gunmetal. The gunmetal is very plastic looking to me. I would like if it was more of a metallic, shiny gunmetal. But again, that's a color. That's subjective. Get over it. Get a black one. Get a stainless one. Yeah, there's just really not any cons to it to me. So, but I don't use RTAs that often, and yeah, ever since I got it and been testing it, I haven't put it down any day since I've had it. Go out there, buy one, $40 around on the internet, and go see if I'm dead on or not. So, but I definitely want to give a shout out to Bogan for making such a good product with Dovpo, and for just being, the super cool guy that he really is. He is one of those reviewers that isn't untouchable. He does still try to touch with his fan base, and he's super helpful and just a genuinely really cool guy. So thank you so much, sir, for especially answering all the questions that I've asked you over the last almost year. And kick-ass job on that. That is definitely one I bought. And if I want another finish, I'll buy it again. So, but that is all I got today for the Blotto RTA. So I just want to thank each and every single one of you yet again for coming by to Vape with a Viking. And I'll check you later.